Hello, Benjies. Welcome to the BingeWorthy podcast, part of the Geekish Network. I'm your boy, Johnny Randolph, and I am a speaker, a trainer, and a podcaster. And we've got some familiar old faces, new faces in the crew today. So for my first co-host, this guy, he's been with us since the beginning of the BingeWorthy podcast. He's family, and now he's back at home. He's an actor. He's a writer. He's an influencer. You know, I call him the game spitter because my man be spitting that fire. Centel with the intel. Say what's up to the people, man.
Oh, Miss Silly home. Oh, Miss Silly home now. Hey, you already know, man. I get to kick it back with my fam and talk trash and talk all that good stuff about content that I love. And hey, and like you said, man, new faces, new opinions, more ways to fight over the remote. I'm looking forward to it.
That's what's up. And this next guy, you know, he's family too, you know, but I know him. You may not know him as much, but I know him. He made his premiere last week, and he came in and opened up a whole bunch of whoop ass on the House of Dragons. So, you know, he laid out his blurred credit just a little bit, but I'm going to let him reintroduce himself. Yo, Rikai, tell the people who you are, man.
I am Rakai Steed, the nuke from the Ville, and man, I am welcome. I am so thankful to be back. Yeah, my blurred credit is extensive. I could stay in this all day, but it started with a small film I saw in, 1977. Had some droids and things like that. So to be on the subject we on today, locked, loaded, ready.
All right, man. I feel you. All right. And we are the BingeWorthy Podcast. Fellas, how y'all doing tonight, man? Yeah. Y'all all right?
I'm just feeling blessed, man. Feeling blessed to be surrounded by all this content. It's everything.
Yeah, man. We were just talking about it. It's a good time, right?
Good time to be alive.
Yeah, we can live in a world where we got House of Dragons with Lord of the Rings and Star Wars all at the same time.
Yes, sir.
And not only to mention that I am merely a good 8 days away from that poster you have behind you, young Mr. Randolph.
Sir.
Listen, I
Sir.
wait.
Yes, sir. Wakanda forever, baby.
Wakanda through Zamunda next week. I don't.
He ain't lying.
All that is facts. Well, the premise of our show is that each week we will binge watch a television series, and then we come right here to the BingeWorthy Podcast to discuss that series. At the beginning of our show, we will rate it using our unique BingeWorthy scale, and then we engage in conversation. We talk about the characters, we talk about the themes, we talk about the plots, we talked about the visuals, the full spectrum of that IP. And at the end, we will re-rate it. Now, sometimes my illustrious hosts, they can influence me or influence us to change that rating. At times it might lift it up. At other times it pulls that shit all the way down to the flow. So, speaking of our unique binge-worthy scale, it is as followed. At a number 5 is what we call a full binge out. That means this property is outstanding. It is dynamic. It is one of those series that you cannot miss. At a number 4, we call it a full meal. A full meal, it is not quite a full binge out, but it is definitely worth your time to invest in watching this property. At a number 3, we call that a mini meal. A mini meal is kind of, it's not bad. It's not good. It's just, when our other co-host, Courtney Scott Wright, when she's here, she always refers to it as a bland-ass TV dinner. And I say without any of that Lowry seasoning sprinkled in there. At a number 2 is what we call a snack. A snack, it is one of those shows where, football season is over with, basketball season is over with, and there is nothing new on any of the streaming services, and it's just you at home in your robe watching some boring ass baseball because it ain't nothing else to do. Think of it as like an old bag of Cheetos that's left up in the cabinet, and you're too lazy to go out to go get anything. You got Cheeto stains all on your fingers. That's what we call a snack. And at number 1 is what we call a cringe-worthy. That just means that this is some old bullshit. Why the hell did I waste my time watching this? All right, so now we're going to get into our rating. And before we do, I want to give a shout out to our missing co-host, Chuck Babb. He's out there changing the world, one plot and scheme at a time. And we want to also give a shout out to our other co-host, Ms. Courtney Scott Wright. She's preparing to run the New York Marathon. So that's doing big things. Ooh. I did. Yeah, man. I know I am.
She be getting it, man. She be getting it.
I actually thought about her today, and I was like, I ran to Marathon and got some gas. And I thought about Marathon clothes to run in, because Nipsey Hussle. So that's about it.
That's about it.
That's about it.
Cool. Well, Courtney, she provided her rating. She gave it a full binge out. And Chuck provided his rating. He gave it a full binge out as well. So with that being said, I'm gonna jump to you, Rakai. How are you going to rate Tales of the Jedi? Well, let me tell the people we're watching Tales of the Jedi tonight. So Rakai, how are you going to rate Tales from the Jedi?
I love the fact that you start off with me, and I love the fact that I am among esteemed columnists with my full binge out.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
All right.
You want to provide a little commentary or not? Or you just cool with
I think we'll get into that, but I guess the easiest thing for me is that this particular set of episodes contains one of my absolute favorite character in all of Star Wars, Ahsoka Tano. So anything that gives me further insight and is tightly done into her character and everything that I've come to love about her, that's a win for me.
Okay. All right. I feel you. I'm going to jump in here too. So we talked about it a little bit in the preambles before we went on air, like Star Wars, right? I've been a fan of Star Wars since I was a little kid, you know. To this day, I still think that the lightsaber is the coolest weapon, like in all of, you know, culture. I just think it's just dope. And so with that being said, though, I'm not afraid to be critical of Star Wars when they don't meet the bar that I feel like that they set way back in the late 70s. The last two outings that we had, what was it? The Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan. I didn't really love those, you know. I struggled with those. And so with this one, I was wondering, well, maybe. But when I got through watching it, man, that shit did not disappoint at all. It rekindled the passion that I had for Star Wars because it was just straight up dope. I do not know what it is about the Star Wars animation properties. They all seem to kill it. Clone Wars, Rebels, The Bad Batch, then this one. They all seem to knock it out the park. And I think maybe it's because Dave Filoni is involved in a lot of the animated series like that. And Ricard talked about it. He was the one who actually created Ahsoka, who's one of the dopest characters that we've ever had in Star Wars. So I'm going to have to concur with my compadres, Ricard, Chuck, and Courtney. For me, it's 100% a full binge out. The only reason I'm not giving it anything higher is we don't have another option. So Sintel, bruh, bring us home. How are you going to rate Tales of the Jedi?
Man, you know me. I got to be contrary.
All right. That's what we here for.
Listen. I'm not saying that the show isn't dope. It is dope. It's really good. It's probably one of the best pieces of property that we've seen on the animation side or just in storytelling in general. But the only problem is that it's like you see one really pretty girl and you're like, dang, she really fine. She really, really fine. And then you get to the party and then you see the real dime. And the real dime is Andor. And now that I've seen what Andor is possible, now that I've seen what the Star Wars properties are possible to do in Andor, it makes this particular property shine just a hair below, just enough to keep it from perfection. I'm giving it 4 stars, but I've got plenty of room to be moved towards a binge out. It's close. It's really, really, really close. It's just, I walked in here with one bad chick and I looked over and I saw another and I was like, damn, I chose wrong.
Listen, right, bro, you know, he went to school in Atlanta, you know, in the heyday, and he lived in California. So he like, you know, I can have one bad chick, but it's a whole bunch of bad chicks out there.
Just freak Nick dancing through his
brain. Right. So, me being a Midwestern, I'm like, oh yeah, she's beautiful. You like, man, you ain't see nothing, bro.
This is sad piece to my sad piece.
Right. I'm bringing my chick to the party. They're like, why are you bringing your girl to the party? So
into the beach.
I love her, man.
Right.
Love's all right, man. Don't let nobody tell you.
Okay, so that does still give us a cumulative score of 4.8, which, you know, we can round up to a full binge out as we currently stand. All right, so I'm gonna start here. So start with you, Rakai. There are 6 episodes in this series with a runtime between 15 to 20 minutes. The series, as we talked about a little earlier, it touches on some familiar characters in the Star Wars universe, Ahsoka and Count Dooku. So, Rakai, the question I have for you is, do you think that the length of the series, 6 episodes between 15 to 20 minutes, was sufficient to tell the 2 stories that they told in this series?
Absolutely. And I think One of the things that I love most about it was that they gave me small morsels,
Mhm.
that they were able to tell a concise, tight story in 15, 20 minutes without drawing out the runtime. Like, you didn't have to hold me hostage for 45 minutes to tell a story that was 15 minutes worth of story. You gave me little snippets, little pieces, different pivotal moments in each one of those characters' backstory. And again, to your point, if you have not seen any of the animated series on Star Wars, and yes, I'm talking to you, Romar Steed, Romar Steed,
Hello,
David,
bro.
one of my best friends. Y'all have not watched. Do not tell me that you're Star Wars fans. You have not watched any animated. You
Yeah.
are cheating yourselves. Some of the best storytelling has been in the animated universe, thanks to Dave Filoni
Yeah.
and Jon Favreau. And I will say, he went on to create. He was doing such a great bang up job that they said, you know what? What can you do with some live action? You want a movie? He's like, nah, I won't do a movie, but I've been thinking about this one series. I don't know. I'll call it I don't know, The Mandalorian. I'm gonna do that. And Sintel is right, even though he's wrong. Andor is something else, and I think it may have saved live action Star Wars in a way that we couldn't even see coming. It was this story that we knew we wanted, but we didn't know that we wanted it like that. And and the thing is, in a normal universe, it kind of like we were talking about House of Dragons. Yes, I mean it's wonderful. You got, but really the stories of Targaryens, Valerians, there's only a few people that got dragons. Really, if they want to wreck shop, they could, burn everybody down and we taking over Emperor style. In this, not everybody's got lightsabers. So what is the rest of the people doing? And that is the beauty of Andor. But it's still a Star Wars story, and I do miss my space wizards. So this right here is perfect, near perfect storytelling in very short, tight episodes.
Cool. All right, man. Centel, bro, you are an actor. And at BingeWorthy, we've talked about it in the past. Voice acting is a different animal. Not every actor that is an actor or actress can do voice acting. What do you think about the quality of the voice acting for Tales of the Jedi?
I think it's one of the high moments. They got some voices that were really familiar, like for instance, the guy that played like Darth Sidious, Ian something. He was like one of the original cast members for it. So we're toying with the familiar, and he's an old dude, man. So he looks like he's been in the game well enough to understand the little things about being a voice actor, and it comes across. He's just as terrifying, actually more so in this than he is in the live action. Then we've got another old school head that was oh my god, he was Static Shock, man. He used to be in this comedy troupe. Anyways, he plays oh my gosh,
I got you. He plays
Bail Organa, right? Yeah.
Okay. Lamar.
Yeah, Phil Lamar, that's his name. That's it. That dude, he's been a voice actor for a minute for a lot of animations and stuff, seasoned vet. And then you got my man TC Carson, bro, playing Mace Windu. Now for me, now I know a lot of folks know him from God of War, but for me it was Living Single.
Yes. Kyle, that's what I was about to say. Do you mean Kyle?
Yeah, Kyle, man. You know what I'm saying? Like legendary voices. Like his voice just goes a really long way, and none of them fell short. Even the ones that like we had to kind of like replace some of the actors, like Dooku, because the actor is unfortunately not with us anymore. But the guy that did Dooku's voice was spot on. There wasn't a lot of stuff that doesn't fit. I'm sorry, my mind's a little discombobulated. The replacement worked. Whoever it is that did the casting for the voices didn't miss a beat. When the voices hopped on, I was like, oh, that's exactly who this is supposed to be. So I thought it was really stellar. You know, it can be a little tricky to get the voice acting done right, because if all it takes is one bad voice to pull you out of the illusion, and then the rest is a wash. So they all stepped up.
It was
and the guy who played Dooku was actually Cad Bane in the whatchamacallit series, and not the Mandalorian, but the Book of Boba Fett. He played the same voice as Cad Bane, and I thought he nailed it. I thought everybody.
Yeah. Mad TV, thank you, chat, for telling me about the name of the comedy troupe. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and Mark also said, he said that was Kyle. I didn't even single it out. Wonk, wonk, wonk.
the TC Carson was also God of War.
Yeah, he was Kratos for a while.
Yeah,
I knew that, but
he's not it anymore, though, is he?
No, they got somebody else.
Okay. Rakai, what did you think about the animation quality and the overall look of the series? Because Star Wars is all about the visuals. You know, how do we create this fantasy, this space fantasy, you know, in a galaxy far, far away? How did you feel the animation style and the overall look contributed to the quality of the show?
I think that's a great question, because I think going from the two different Clone Wars movies, to the two different Clone Wars series, and then to Rebels, to Resistance, to Bad Batch. I think for this is the best looking animation that they've done thus far. I think the animation in this was really top notch. You know, and I know some people, you know, are biased or whatever, and you know, content being what it was, but I think the look of this and the entire feel of it was right. I thought it was great.
All right. What about you, Centel? How'd you feel about the animation and the overall look for the series?
You know, I was really fortunate. I got a chance to actually watch this with Chuck. We just took a day and was like, let's just knock it out. It's like 2 hours, you know. And you know, he was speaking on like on the different on each style, how sometimes the animation may be a little bit more aggressive, whereas when you went to Coruscant, it was a little bit more, the color tones were purposely muted in such a way to give the city a certain type of feel. Whereas when you went to the industrial area, we got a chance to see the lady version of Yoda, I forgot her, Yaddle. Yaddle. When they went to the industrial area, and you got a chance to see how they did some of the textures. But I think where they really shined was in the animation, was in the last episode when they put the entire stage on fire. And the fire animation while doing like the final battle was absolutely just incredible. Like they took a big punch. It seemed like they took a big chunk of the budget and was like, we got to really knock this last episode out the park, and they really did on that last scene.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. I actually thought this was the best. Like Rakai said, this was the best animated version. The visuals for me was the best in terms of the look of it that I've seen. Not to say that any of the other ones were bad, because I thought that Clone Wars, back when it first started, it was kind of revolutionary, right? Because it had started off as a 2D project, and then when it came on the Cartoon Network, it was like a 3D project, and they really upped their game. And the original Clone Wars, though, it was for kids, and I thought, you know, it was very impressive as far as its look, and you know, it drew me in. But this one, I thought they went a little bit farther. You know, they're getting that good Star Wars money now. When who's gonna tell Dave Filoni no in his budget when he says he's got a show? Like, sorry, Dave, we can't pull that off. Like, ain't nobody telling him no, so he's getting whatever he wants.
I think to Centel's point, Centel's absolutely right. And I guess, you know, when you're sitting with the guru, when you sit with Chuck, and
know how he is.
Like, but he's absolutely right. And but not only in the animation, in the overall tone. Like, if you really got a chance, because I've now watched it several times. The score, like the music, how it set the tone, and even like you said, how some of the voice acting fell into that. Like, I think the care and the that they took with this series was phenomenal.
So y'all talked about it a little earlier. Dave Filoni, you know, he does this. Should he do a movie? Like, should like somebody force him to do a live action movie? Because been a minute since we've had a good Star Wars live action movie, and it almost seems like the people who they get to do the movies, either they fanboy out on it too much or they're not that interested in it all. And would he make a good, like balance between that, a fanboy and also somebody that says, I've got something to add to it that's consistent with what we've seen in these characters in this world.
So are you saying like a movie, an animated movie? Is that what you're saying?
I want a live action.
Oh, live action. Okay. I don't know, man. I feel like that's a different muscle. A part of my brain is like, yeah, he should absolutely do it. Now, if you're saying like an animated movie, kind of like how the transition from, the Batman animated series to Mask of the Phantasm was flawless. If you're talking about like him doing that, I'd be on with you 100% on that. I think he could do that. But live action, I don't know, man. That's just dealing. The thing is that, the drawing don't talk back and actors talk back.
I want a good live action Star Wars movie, man. I want a reason to go to the movie theater and see a good Star Wars movie. And I feel like it's been a while since I've had that.
Here's the thing. I want to, because we say Dave Filoni because he is the mastermind behind this, but his also, his partner in this is Jon Favreau.
Mm-hmm.
And Jon Favreau has made live action movies and made some very good ones. I mean, we forget Jon Favreau made the first Iron Man movie. He started MCU. Could they do it? I think they could. However, I'm apprehensive only because the excellence that he has been giving us is in a world. It's in a play box. It's already set. So you can take certain pieces and go set them up and play and tell this story in between these other stories and fill it out and make it wonderful. The Clone Wars, he filled in a piece that they talked about, but no one saw. He said, so I'm going to let you see it. And this is how this all went down in here. And it was fantastic.
It was.
But now we're at the point of we finished with Rey and the whole, the space Targaryens. So
the Skywalkers.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I mean, for real, like, I mean, as much as I love Star Wars, this has been one long drama about this one effed up family. Like,
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like the Skywalkers, man. Y'all is, man.
It's trash. They ruined the whole galaxy.
It's so good.
Man. So could he tell a story that is completely out of the box? Like even like Andor is doing something different. It's fantastic. Could he still tell a story, even bring back more Jedi, Sith, something that hasn't been told before? I don't know.
Give him the Old Republic.
I mean, that would be
I keep saying that, man. Give him the Old Republic.
Have they brought Legends back into canon yet, or are we going to get any of those? Because remember, J.J. Abrams. Okay.
Dave Filoni has been slowly bringing things from the Legends in, and he'll change things every now and again. Because even in this, he changed a couple things. But like this 6th episode was basically a rushed, sort of kind of telling of the Ahsoka novel.
Yeah. Yep. And I haven't read the novel. I know they make some changes, but yeah, they do talk about those things. Yeah. But I'm jump to you real quick, Centel. The series is short, and we talked about it. But we had some action sequences. Not a whole lot of them, but we had some. What do you think of them? Good, bad, average? How do you feel about the action sequences?
Listen. Dooku will beat your ass.
When you see Dooku put the
I need you to understand that.
You was like, oh shit.
Right. Dooku is ready at any. I didn't know. I knew he was dope, right? You've heard that he's dope, man. But I didn't realize that he was like Billy the Kid out there. He was ready to go at any given time. He's like, I'll make you famous. Don't come over here talking that trash. I know y'all over here messing with these people. I seen what you did with your son. and I ain't here for that. You know, he's like, dude, and then like the Dynamite duo, the buddy cop duo, I did not know I wanted, man, and I want a series so bad. I want Dooku and Mace.
Man, that was the next question where I was going to go ahead.
I want them to just sit there and just run amok in the galaxy with these lightsabers, man. Because it's like, because in my head, I always thought Mace was the one. Because from my understanding, as far as the physical side of the Force, he's masterclass, right? You know, when it comes to wielding this saber, there's nobody that can really rock with him until I see Dooku, boy. I think the both of them just unhinged, running amok, you know, doing the council's duty would be amazing. Another great thing to get off my comedy train for a hot second, the subtle ways that I was able to actually see what was going on when Yaddle was fighting, I appreciate it. It wasn't just this spinning Yoda around and all I see is just this green whirl. Like you could see her doing all the parrying and the guards and everything, because I know that can't be easy to animate with somebody that small and somebody that big, and then making it look like a formidable match. And they did. I mean, you know, what happened to Yaddle happened, but you know, and then of course the last one, what I said earlier regarding the fight scene in the fire, was them just totally flexing. It's probably some of the best animated fight scenes that I've seen from the Star Wars franchise, because it looked like they realized that time was precious and they weren't going to waste any of our time. They didn't even waste any frames, to be perfectly honest. Every hit found its mark in the right place. All the movements had, there was a fight. There was my homeboy Anthony always says that there's always a good fight scene tells a story within the fight. And you got a chance to see some of that. It looked like they had some really good choreography to look at first before they animated it. It was top notch.
Okay. Ricardo, look like you want to jump in here. Did you have something you want to add about the fight scenes?
Centel said it so perfectly. The final fight in the fire was absolutely flawless. On top of the fact that we forget Ahsoka didn't even have a weapon.
Bad part.
She did some old Bruce Lee. she turned into Ip Man, and that final, like, man, she got our stance together and sidestepped him and killed him, beheaded him with his own. Listen, I said, boy, that's my favorite character. She's bad, and Dooku. In every scene, Dooku was the first one to pull his lightsaber. Listen, this was not bad. He's like, listen, every scene, I'll be your Huckleberry. Listen, he played no games. He was ready to go with everybody. And you're right, that whole thing, Dooku said something that was so perfect, and I didn't realize it until he said it. He said to Mace Windu, he said, your attraction to or your following of the law is both inspiring and maddening at the same time. And I was like, wow.
Man. And the thing is too, like, and I'm picking back on what Centel said, Mace Windu is the best swordsman of the Jedi. He's the best one. And a lot of people don't know, though, his style hinges on touching into the dark side. He comes the closest to touching on the dark side and pulling it back than any other Jedi, because he's got such a mastery of the Force. And then seeing him compared against Dooku, which you think, yeah, Mace gonna be out here wilding, but it was like, nah, Dooku is the one who's really out here wilding. And so the follow-up question I want to pose to both of you all is, was Dooku right? And now maybe he took it too far, or maybe he was wrong, but was Dooku right in the way he was interpreting how the Senate was run and the sort of bureaucratic practices of the Jedi? I'll start with you, Ricardo, and we'll go over to you, Centel.
I think the beauty of these 6 episodes, it shows the dichotomy, and it's funny that it shows a single line of Master to Padawan, shows the dichotomy of falling out of love with the Jedi religion, the Jedi way of doing things. So you start with Dooku, who starts seeing things wrong, and even pose the question to Mace Windu, how can we be effective or whatever if we take everything that the Senate says for the gospel? Like, it's clear that they out here wilding, doing whatever they want to. And, little buddy that was the rebel or whatever said, Jedi are viewed as nothing more than lapdogs for the Senate.
Mm.
But then you go from you go from Dooku to his Padawan, Qui-Gon, who definitely had a different feel for the Jedi. And really, I mean, if he didn't get killed in the Phantom Menace, it probably would have been something different, because he was far more in touch with just the Force, and he was into the will of the Force, the living Force, which nobody else was. Now he was able to turn Anakin, which they didn't even want him to train Anakin. He was able to turn him over to Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi was kind of probably more like Mace Windu. He's strictly for, kind of following the laws, and that's why Obi-Wan Kenobi is regarded as, the best of us. But Anakin, we already know he felt some kind of way, and then you take it all the way back down to Ahsoka, who she started feeling some kind of way, started having some problems, and then they even went so far as to alienate her and treat her some kind of way, treat her like a criminal, where once that was all cleared up, and it's like, oh, we want you back. And, at that point, she noticed that she was African American. She's like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, she's like, I'm not.
I ain't here for that foolishness.
Yeah.
Nah, you ain't gonna treat me like that. Nah, I'm
Right,
good.
almost kill me and lock me up, and then you want me to come back? Nah, fam.
Nah, bro. He got me
You're not doing that. Then what about you, bro? Was Count Dooku right?
All right, so listen, you know who I blame? I blame Yoda. Because Yoda was Dooku's master. Okay, so you got to go to the source, the patriarch of your family. They're the one that set the tone, set the standard, and Yoda's supposed to be this godlike Jedi with all of this premonition and wisdom and all of that. And his line is the most fucked up in the whole universe. It's his line. Dooku's jacked up. Qui-Gon was all right. We thought the line was gonna come back with Qui-Gon. With Obi-Wan, and then it falls off the rails with Luke a little bit. Like this. I go back. The patriot, the head of the family needs to get his people in line. Nobody else's Jedi line is doing this, is causing this much havoc in the entire galaxy. Nobody else's but Yoda's, and you're the tip of the spear. So when you're asking me, was Qui-Gon, well, not Qui-Gon, was Dooku right? Yeah, Dooku was right, but the problem is that he didn't have the right guidance from the adults in the house to put that negative energy in a positive light. They let this man out on his own. Like, every now and then he'll come back to the council off of probably some, however long he's out in the wilderness with Mace knocking heads. Then he gets back home and Yoda's like, off on another run you are. And he didn't get a chance to vent. My man needs some time to decompress. He's got mental health issues, my guy, and nobody wants to check on him. And then they're wondering, like, damn, why my man over here off the reservation? Because he need help. Where your man? Where Yoda at? It's Yoda's fault. He was right, but just because you're right doesn't mean you're gonna go about it the right way. And you got a grimy dude. You got a grimy dude that snatched up little Jedi that have lost their way. Yo, Palpatine is like, hey, I choose you. And Palpatine's pimp hand is strong. It's strong in the Force.
That's the next question. Like, when he comes up, go ahead, Rikai. Go ahead. You were saying something?
I didn't even think that I would agree with Centel on that, but after he just laid that out, I got to agree with him. If anything, these particular set of episodes show me that all the Jedi needed mental health counseling.
All of. If Anakin would have had we talked about this a couple while ago. If he'd have had like a mental health profession to talk to, he was a slave. You done kidnap him. Then you talking trash to him in front of his face, talking about he's scared. He ain't around nobody. You calling him the chosen one. Like, if you'd have sat down and talked to Anakin, you know what I'm saying?
Conversation, man. That's all they need.
But here's the thing too. You look at like overall organizations, because the Jedi is kind of, we look at it one way, but Jedi is kind of a religion. they're not allowed to have like personal connections. We saw first, Anakin's like, nah, hell with that, bruh. I like her. You saw through the Clone Wars series that, I'm saying, that Obi-Wan had a boo at one time.
Yeah.
But he kept secret. Like he didn't even make no real overtures that we saw, and when she got killed, he was all kinds of tore up. Look, mental health.
Yeah,
Man. Why he felt some kind of way. He probably mad at Anakin. Anakin, how dare you go ahead with your boo? I didn't go ahead with my boo.
I thought we was doing this together.
Dr. Melfrey for the Jedi from The Sopranos.
Yeah, he makes it last too. So
no. And y'all gotta figure, Centel, what you said, like, how many times did Yoda go into the Chancellor's office? I mean, I get Palpatine is dope, but Palpatine got all kind of Sith artifacts all around, and you ain't pick up on nothing?
No, man.
I have that same question. I have that same problem with all of this. If Yoda is so dope, and not only Yoda, but Mace Windu sitting right next to him, you are Samuel L. Mother. Y'all didn't notice, like, this man is all up in your face, smiling in your face. You didn't detect none.
You didn't. No hints.
You didn't get a tingle or something, like, yo, like.
I'm like, come on. I'm like, look, Mace, you black, bro. Your radar should have been on. You
look at the movies, everything they said, they just went and sat down in the little chamber, said, you know what, we're gonna ponder on this. And then not only that, the other thing that it got me, and it burned me up. Did you hear Yaddle speaking normally? Yaddle spoke normally. Like, we don't know
that's a Yoda thing.
We ain't talked yet, but Yaddle spoke normal.
Yeah.
So no wonder you can't get nowhere where Yoda's back is talking ass.
Right, that's his own thing.
Yoda front.
We thought that was his people, but no, Yoda just.
No, he just dyslexic. No wonder he didn't know what's going on. He's dyslexic.
Yeah, don't look at everybody else. I don't know what's wrong with that motherfucker. He
just need accommodation for this ass. And he gonna give him a lightsaber. He rode the short X-Wing to school. God damn it.
Oh, no, man.
Oh, man, he's
been drinking too much of that swamp water in Dagobah.
George Bush, like, he showed up and couldn't talk, and we just made him the president. He must be saying something deep. Can't nobody understand this.
Yes. Nobody. Ain't nobody gonna question this dude. Question this funny talking dude. No, nobody. No.
Riddles, dark sauce of the forest, hard to like. Nah, that's what it was. Cause nobody understand him. His own people was like, nah.
Run game. He's like, I got them.
Listen, and I'm not even saying that species isn't wise, because Yaddle had some wisdom. Yaddle was like, listen, just hear me out.
On top of that, she could.
I know it's jacked up. She was even admitting it. She was like, yo, I know it's messed up, but listen, you ain't got to go with this. Can we talk? Can we just, chill out for a second? And she would have talked him off the ledge. She would have talked him off the ledge, but that pimp was in the back, man.
I'm about to Palpatine. Everything about that scene to me was dope. So when he pulls up, he's like, we didn't have to lose. You didn't have to kill Qui-Gon. He was like, I lost an apprentice too.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the best. It was the best fuck your couch I've heard in Star Wars in a minute. I don't care about your little apprentice.
You don't trust me? Of course not. I don't trust you. I don't trust you.
Had him pulled up. Then he hit him with is Wayne Brady gonna have to smack him?
Right.
He said, "Oh, was I betrayed?"
He so did. Yo, it was funny. Johnny, you hit the nail right on the head. Me and Chuck was watching, and he was like, did you? He's like, do you not trust me? That dude was like, hell no, I don't trust you. Yo, me and Chuck was dying laughing. I was like, he said it straight up. He was like, no, absolutely not. I don't trust you. No.
Was I betrayed?
Get rid of him.
Now prove your loyalty.
Yeah, right. And I think that's when he broke bad. I mean, he was on the verge, but because he came at Palpatine real. I don't know if I ever heard anybody talk to Palpatine like that. And then, though, when Yoda trade up, he was like, oh, you betrayed me? Well, if you didn't, prove it. And he had to do it. And from there, it was just over. It's Count Dooku that we know now.
Yeah, and you had a poor little tink tink. You know what I'm saying? You thought he got her with the door, and then she showed her power, picked the door back up. But then, yeah, that was it. It was a wrap.
Yeah,
and unceremoniously cracked that neck too, just yanking it. And then they just kept it moving. I was like, dang. Only thing that would have made that worse if you seen her little leg kick and a little twitch or something. It'd have been a wrap. Unceremoniously close her out, bro.
All right, let's go on. So we get an Ahsoka origin story. Was this needed? Did it add anything to the character? Rakai, you talked about how she's one of your favorite characters. What do you think? Was this needed? Did it add anything to this character?
It was not needed. I will say that. It was not needed. I didn't mind it. And I think I only had one real beef with this particular story. When the saber-tooth tiger, when it brings her back to the village, drops her off, she has bonded, she has, touched his nose, touched him, reached out through the force and found common ground, like, hey, I ain't done her. when he brought her back and dropped her off to the little old lady, and the old lady says, and they like, how could this be? When she said Ahsoka is Jedi, I don't know why that burned me up. Like the thing is, these people clearly have technology. They had robots and they had, droids around. But the Togruta, one of the reasons that they were not part of the Empire, not part of the Separatists and all that, is because they were so fierce in staying to their ways and staying out of the whole thing. I mean, there was even an episode where in the Clone Wars where the Empire tried to come in and try to come in and house them, and then the Imperial, whatever clone troopers and whatever showed up to save them, or let them be on their own or whatever. But there was no Jedi around, and I mean, I know the Sith ain't been seen for 1,000 years, but for her to say she's Jedi, just I'm pretty sure everybody knew about the Force, but everybody ain't seen Jedi. Like, I don't know, it's just one of those things that struck me. She's Jedi. I was like, okay. I mean, it was unneeded, but I like the way that it's a subtle way of talking about Ahsoka's overall connection to the Force. And to me, Ahsoka is one of my favorite Jedis because she's what I call a gray Jedi. I love the grays, the people that are they kind of float back and forth, and they can see things for what it was. Like the Jedi has a very strict code. The Sith has a very strict code. The gray kind of like, no, it's not black and white. There's levels of gray. And by the time when she walked away from the Jedis, she knew what it was, and she was a gray Jedi. The other one, my other favorite, is Ravon, and he was a great Jedi, but that's simply because he was a Jedi, and then he was a Sith, and then he was a Jedi. Like, he walked both sides of that line. So, it's almost like, he was Christian one week, he was Muslim next week. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to go back to, I think I like Jesus. I don't know.
If he at the mosque, the synagogue, or the church, it's gone. So, Sincere, one of the things we picked up in the series was it kind of fleshed out the relationship a little bit between Anakin and Ahsoka. And we saw Anakin take some different training methods with Ahsoka. What'd you feel about that? Did you think the Jedi approved or even knew about, what Anakin was putting his Padawan through? Because he was taking shots. Yeah. Real shots.
Yeah. I mean, they was over there playing with padded gloves and the headgear and all that. And Anakin's like, nah, we gonna have you kicking this tree with your straight shins. You ain't gonna be nothing padded, And I appreciate that. It's like, because Anakin's seen some real stuff, and he also knows that a lot of stuff is gonna be sugar coated. And then not only that, yo, you walking around here with my name. You know, I'm your master, and I know when the situation is about to get tough, I need to make sure that you're gonna be all right. It was a full blown respect, and I've always been a fan ever since Rocky, man. I love some training montages. It's just something about them, and we got a good one because them. Yo, the Bad Batch or whatever crew that was, and them stormtroopers, they was the clones. They was lighting that ass up.
Man, no problem with gunning her ass and woke her right back up. And Anakin was like, "Get your ass up!
Get your ass up!"
It's been out for 2 days. Come on. Do it again.
Like, how many hours up and down? He's like, "Don't worry, you'll get used to it. You'll be all right." Just get on up there. Yo, Anakin to me was the black daddy that I've seen so many times as a kid, man. When I was playing sports. You know, you bust your ass on the football field, you trip and fall, run the track, whatever it is, get your ass up. Ain't nobody gonna sit here and watch you cry. I felt that. I was like, all right, yeah, it's tough love because he knows in the end, you know, it's gonna work out, you know, and you're not gonna be safe playing it safe. You know, you got to get down there and you got to get dirty.
Did it help either when y'all see better the relationship that they had, or was it just kind of par for the course, filling in details that you had?
I mean, being that was the only Padawan he had, I think it was, you know, it bettered the relationship. I mean, I saw him as what's her name, the bride's teacher in Kill Bill, like, you know, like he was hard on her, like even from the very start, he was super hard on her. But I mean, you know, you come to see that was because that's how much he cared about her and he wanted her to be the best. And it clearly paid off because that training right there paid off in season 7 of the Clone Wars. It paid off when she fought a damn near cybernetic Darth Maul, like his ass.
Yeah, man. She fought Darth Maul twice. She fought him in Rebels and she fought him in season 7 of the Clone Wars. And a bunch of other people out there too. So yeah. And he said a kind of dope thing. He said, my best way to protect you is to teach you how to protect yourself. Paraphrasing, you know, something in there. So
yeah,
I mean, about episode 6, he clearly did. I mean, and she's out here fighting Inquisitors. She handing everybody their ass.
Everybody. You know, and I think we needed that to make that scene that much better at the end of the 6th episode, because you saw what she trained and what she had to go through. So when she washed that dude with 2-3 good steps and a sidestep, it was like, yeah, that nobody questioned it. Nobody questioned it. It's like,
no other Padawan would have been able to kill an Inquisitor without a lightsaber in her hand. It was,
and she was not
shook. She was able to do that.
Yeah, but here's the thing though that we're forgetting too. At this point in her life, you know what I'm saying, when she had left the Order, she's a Padawan only in name.
Oh no, she's a Jedi.
I mean, shit. At that point, she's pretty much a Jedi Master.
Yeah, right. Yeah, she's a Jedi Master. And in the book, with Ahsoka, that's how, because in Rebels, she shows up with 2 lightsabers, and they're the white lightsabers. She took the red lightsabers, and I don't know if it was for this one or they're going to do another one. And the way a red lightsaber is made is it's corrupted through the blood and sweat of the actual holder of it. She uncorrupted that lightsaber and then took it on, and that's why it had the white light. And that was something she actually figured out on her own.
Yeah, but that's the thing too, that also not every Jedi can do that.
No, that's what I'm saying. She figured that on her own. Yeah. Nobody taught her to do that. I don't know if it's ever been done.
And white, because you purify the crystal.
Right. Purify the crystal.
That's dope.
Hybrid crystal. Because she couldn't find, because the planet where the hybrid crystal were attacked by the Empire, because Palpatine didn't want nobody creating ones. So she had to create her own lightsaber, and that's how she did it, was by uncorrupting it because it was corrupted. Yeah. Because Sith don't get lightsabers. They take one and then they corrupt it. That's part of their whole method.
Yeah, I think that's dope. Yeah, if you want to get a lightsaber, earn it. Go take it. I feel that.
Palpatine dropped Vader off on a planet and then just left. It's like, he was like, if you survive, you're my apprentice. If you don't, you aren't worthy.
And kept it moving. Yo, Palpatine be high stepping knees to chest on his timeline. Right, like, I need you to catch up.
Let's re-rate it. We started with you, Rakai, first. We're gonna start with you, Centel. How you gonna re-rate it, man?
Hey man, you know what? That's why I gave myself a little bit elbow room to be nudged after having this conversation with y'all and just y'all breaking it down. It's all about the devil's in the details, man. So I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna go ahead and move that bad boy up to BingeWorthy. So much so that I'm gonna have to watch it again actually because I want to catch some of those nuances in real time. So yeah, y'all convinced me.
All right, so you're going up to full bench worth. All right, I'm gonna keep mine the same. This just reaffirmed my strength in it. Just the conversation. So it's good conversation here. Rakai, what about you, bro? I can pretty much guess what you're gonna say, but
Yeah, I didn't change a thing, man. As a matter of fact, it inspired me to go back. I started watching little small episodes of the Clone Wars and stuff like that, and Rebels, man, like the Twilight of the Apprentice, and man, it's
I went
just
back and started watching the prequels after it.
yeah, because I mean, it fills in so
Yeah.
much. It is actually, it's amazing that these animated pieces have given so much more depth
Mhm.
to the prequels that it's almost like blasphemy to say that they have overtaken the original trilogy. Empire Strikes Back is one of those movies that's up there.
Yeah.
But they fill in so much, and it's such tight and fantastic storytelling. And even to Centel's point, you add Andor in there again, things that happened pre A New Hope. I mean, dude, they are doing fantastic stuff before A New Hope even hits the market.
Yeah, man. Rebels is like that. Rebels is dope. It's right there, right before New Hope, and it's animated.
Which, speaking of which, did you see Caleb Doom in this? So, the first time when Ahsoka is training and she's training against the droids in the temple, the little boy that was in there is Caleb Doom.
Oh, is it?
Changes his name to Kanan Jarrus.
No, you're talking about Rebels. Rebels.
Yes.
Yeah, I just found that out like last year because I went back and when he ran away and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, after Order 66.
Yeah, that's the beginning of that's canon. I was like, oh crap.
Yeah, that little boy who saw Ahsoka, defeat the droids and was so impressed with her. But then, Order 66, he ran away, he dipped and hid out, and later changed his name to, because he was wanted as the Jedi Caleb Doom. He changed his name to Kanan Jarrus.
And he's actually too in Bad Batch. In the Bad Batch, when it starts off, they kill his master and he runs away. And the Bad Batch were supposed to kill him, but they didn't. One of them lied and said he fell into the river. That's actually Kanan too. So I didn't pick that up. Oh, that's dope. That's dope. Cool. So I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. All right, Rakai, bro, you got anything to say before we head out?
Nah, man, this was a fantastic. I mean, I knew it was going to be anyway. Glad to be on with you, Centel, as always. As long as I've been watching this show and been a fan of this show, you guys always come with the real. And I'm so fortunate to have been a part of it this week. So
cool. We do have some comments in the chat. Mark said the prequels needed it too because then he makes a bunch of faces. The prequels I did not like at the time, but I think they hit
Dave Filoni could do. It doesn't matter what Dave Filoni does. There's nothing he could do with the sequels.
The prequels age better, man. Go back and watch them. They're not as bad as you remember them being.
No, the prequels are George W. Bush. He's like, when they came out, they were awful. And then the sequels came out, and
he was like, Trump, you got you got Trump, and you was like, well, George wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad. That is the best comparison I've heard, man. That is the best. You win the day for that one.
So you got anything to say before we head out?
Oh, hey man, just happy to be home. And I'm looking forward to chopping it up with y'all again. It's so much.
Silly home now.
Silly home.
Cool. As always, shouts out to Digital Click. They provide the surroundings and the ambiance, the marketing needs for us. If you are considering marketing or promotional needs for your company, consider hitting up Digital Click. We want to give a shout out to Rodney. He's the eye in the sky, doing all the tech mastery. Give a shout out to the chat. Mark, man, we got to get you on one of these shows. Mark is out here every day, every week supporting us, and we appreciate the love. The Geekish Network, we are a network built for people of color, people, Black people, Asian people, Latinos, Southeast Asian, all of it, and we have people that are in front of the camera and behind the camera, and we do it for people who look like you. So please support us, like us on Facebook, hit that subscribe button, hit those like buttons, this feeds the algorithm to let us know that you are interested in following us. Share us with all your friends, again, because we're doing this for people who look like you. Next week, we are going to do Atlanta. So, Centel, bro, we're doing Atlanta. We'll do it on Thursday because the last episode premieres Thursday. So we'll do it Thursday, then we'll go live after that. Come back and support us, man.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
You can always come back home. Man. Always come back home. So till next week, appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you later. Peace.
Peace.